if you look at this through the lens of any other kind of organization or business, a lot of times when you have leadership change, when you have this kind of long, steady, consistent leadership, and sometimes it's loved, sometimes it's not, but it's long and steady, and then you end up with this like interim leader, right? And the interim leader kind of blows up a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Sometimes they're necessary. Sometimes they're brought in, they're going to, cut headcount or whatever they're going to do, unpleasant stuff. But their time is short. And then it sets the stage for better leadership down the road. It's almost like he's putting every single relationship up for negotiation.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's like, okay, nothing that existed before am I going to hold sacred? I'm going to examine everything. It's almost like that new person that comes into a business and says, all right, we're going to turn over every kind of leaf, see how things are done, what we can change. There's going to be no sacred cows.
Yeah.
Is there any value to that? Because sometimes we see it in value in the private sector, right? There's value in that.
Well, there's value. So here's the deal. I said, let's say you're a manufacturing company, right? And you've been pretty lax on your quality, okay? And your vendors know like pretty much what they're going to get. They pretty much know, like you promise it in 40 days and they're going to get it in 60 days. So like they complain about you about not being on top of things, but they adjust themselves knowing that you're always going to be 15 minutes late, right? And then the new leader comes in and says, this is unacceptable, just sort of blows up the company, and the company's like, whoa, am I going to lose my job? And they start changing. And so then the better might be all of their customers go, whoa, like we got attention now, right? So very specific, a very small pocket, one company is impacted and then their immediate vendors are impacted as well, okay, for good things. Okay, so but then take that to everybody who is 1, 2, 3, 6 degrees separated from that vendor. If all the vendors all of a sudden started doing that all at once and everybody's like, what just happened? Like, I pick up the phone and I'm expecting to get Mitch, and Mitch doesn't work there anymore. And you're like, this number no longer out. We're like,
I liked Mitch.
I liked Mitch. What happened to Mitch?
What happened to Mitch?
But you can't even get an answer. They won't even tell you what happened to Mitch. Mitch who? Like, I've been talking to Mitch for 6 years. There's no Mitch here. Mitch has never worked here. Wait, I know Mitch has worked there because I've been talking.
So you think that's happening at a bigger global scale?
I think the bigger global scale is, suppose that every single company decided to blow themselves up immediately, and then nobody knew anything, and you couldn't get a hold of Mitch, and nobody would acknowledge that Mitch even existed. You'd be like, dude, I know there's a guy named Mitch. I have talked to him, and you're telling me to my face there's no Mitch. Like, that's just that is cognitive dissonance, and I'm not okay with that because I talked to Mitch.
So it goes back to this idea of chaos, because he's not only creating chaos in terms of just every American, but he's creating chaos with the other countries and even businesses, because he's putting everything up for negotiation. So he's going back to, I think it was Boeing. Was it Boeing or Lockheed Martin? I can't remember. It was one of them, and he went back and he said, that's way too much for that. We're not going to buy that. We're getting rid of that contract. You're going to have to lower your prices. He's going to countries and saying, I'm looking at kind of the trade deficit, and I don't like that number. And so unless it becomes more profitable for us, we're not going to give you any more money. Yeah. He's making everything like a business, at least on the surface. It looks like a business negotiation.